On this episode of the Big Red Kitchen Show,
we have former Husker and Cowboy Danny Noonan.
We're going to find out how to use this handy-dandy kitchen gadget to make short work of slicing your olives.
We've also got a wonderful featured drink by John over at Salt Restaurant.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The Big Red Kitchen Show is brought to you by Salt Restaurant, Wren's Display, the Pampered Chef products provided by Teresa Brown, Sea of Red Wine, DeFord Family Dental, Dr. Kathy DeFord, Rotella's Bakery, Just Good Meats, Quality Mark Home Repair and Remodeling, Waddell and Reed Financial Advisors, eSpark Media, D. Tendenza Food Styling and Photography.
I'm Sherry Potter, and I'm the host of the Big Red Kitchen Show. I'm a professional food stylist, food photographer, and I like trying out new recipes in my studio kitchen. But today's recipe took me outdoors, and I can't wait to talk about it. But before I do that, let's introduce you to my co-host, Angela.
Hi there, I'm Angela Waltman. I'm the creator of the Big Red Recipes Cookbook, which is a cookbook featuring all former Husker athletes. We were super excited to release our first cookbook, which was our football version, in August of 2015, and we are eagerly anticipating our next two versions. Our baseball will come out in spring of this year, and then football 2 will come out the summer of 2016. And what's special about our football version is that's the guest we have today. Awesome. He is actually in our second version of the football cookbook, so we're very excited for that. It's Danny Noonan, which if you watched Husker football in the 80s, I'm sure you remember that name. And then he also went on for a few years in the NFL, had a great career there too. So I'm excited to hear more about Danny, and I would love to bring him on our set.
Awesome.
Hello, thank you so much for coming.
Welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Now, you played in the 80s.
Yes,
so
long time ago, yeah.
not that long. So it's been a little while since you've played, and some people might have forgotten what it was like back then in that era. So can you tell us a little bit more about what it was like playing for the Huskers in the late 80s?
So I was born and raised in Lincoln, went to Lincoln Northeast, and played for the Huskers from 1983 to 1987. And really had a great experience. You know, being from Lincoln, I live 6 miles from campus, and getting a chance to play for Coach Osborne and Charlie McBride was really something special. I didn't redshirt, so I was only there 4 years, but it really was a great experience. You know, growing up in Lincoln, you can't help but not like the Big Red, right?
Absolutely. So growing up, was that your dream to play for the Huskers? Did you play other sports? We had Alex Henry on our show, and he played soccer and was actually offered a soccer scholarship and turned it down. Did you play other sports, or were you just a football guy?
I did some martial arts for about 6-7 years when I was young, but really when I got into high school, I just concentrated on football. I was undersized, so I just tried to work out and gain as much weight as I could to play football. So yeah, I was pretty much a one-athlete sport. But I did play a little baseball, mostly martial arts, and then of course football when I got in high school.
Absolutely. So is it always the Huskers, or did you even consider going out of state?
I would have considered it, but you know what? Nebraska's the only place that offered me a scholarship. So
there you go.
I got letters from a bunch of different schools. Hawaii, I remember it's like, I'd love to take a trip to Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
And, go there. But, Nebraska was the only school to offer me a scholarship. So it was pretty much a no-brainer to go to Nebraska. And like I said, it was a great experience.
So meant to be.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. So you said you struggled to gain weight to be a football player. So tell me a little bit about the training table and what it's like to have to put on weight. Because we've had guys who had to cut weight. Tell us about the other end of it.
Yeah, so in high school I weighed 215 pounds. And then when I played in college in the pros, my playing weight was about 290, 295. Wow. My heaviest was 304. Yeah, I mean, it was just, you had the long hours in the weight room. Drank a lot of milk. Yeah. I was always big. I love that. But yeah, it was kind of a struggle to get the weight on, but it really helped me. Even at 295 or 290, the guys I was going against on the offensive line were 350 or bigger. Guys like Nate Newton, Kevin Gogan, those guys were in the 360 range. So I was still undersized even at 295.
Yeah.
You had to be fast, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. That was what I tried to do, was out-quick them, because I couldn't
Right.
they were really strong, so I had tried to, get on the outside and try to, get up field as quick as I can.
Right.
So now, having to keep weight on like that when you stopped playing, was it a challenge to readjust how you ate? How did that go?
Yeah, I mean, I really watched what I ate. I did a lot more protein and watched the fat intake, and did a lot more cardio too. So those are the things that really helped me lose the weight. I didn't lose it overnight. I'm probably 245, 250 right now. So to lose the 50 pounds, it was over about a 2-year time span.
That's
So
big.
yeah, I just
Yeah.
took it off gradually. But I like, being lighter. When I was, 295, I felt kind of sluggish.
Yeah.
Too, it helps with the injuries too. I've, had a bad back, and so the less weight I have, the better my back feels.
Absolutely. So we've got another NFLer on. I love that. I love talking about the different experience you had. Can you tell me a little bit about the difference of playing NFL versus collegiate ball?
Yeah, well, so I was drafted in 1987 by Dallas, first round draft choice with Dallas. It really was a great experience. I went from Coach Osborne to Coach Tom Landry, very similar. Yeah, very similar in
I'm a
coaching
huge
styles.
Dallas Cowboy fan.
Yeah,
so-
either you love them or you hate them.
Yes,
There's no in
and I
between.
love them.
That's
I love
great.
them.
But Coach Landry's all like Coach Osborne in his coaching style. He didn't yell and scream a lot, but when he did talk, you listened. And then I played 3.5 years with Jimmy Johnson, which was basically on the other end of the spectrum
I know.
as far as coaching.
Right,
He was
yeah.
very much of a
Volatile
rah-rah
forward,
guy.
volatile.
Right, exactly. But playing in Dallas was a great experience. Dallas and Texas itself is obviously a huge football state.
Yeah.
And Dallas, was a great experience to play there.
Awesome. So when you got out of the NFL, was it a foregone conclusion you'd come back home, or was it kind of a, well, maybe I'll stay somewhere else?
No, I love Nebraska. I grew up in Lincoln. I live in Omaha now, in Elkhorn. So I love Nebraska. I think it's a great place to raise kids. And like I said, I've got 5 of my own, so
Wow.
they keep me busy.
5?
Yeah.
Boys,
yeah.
girls?
I've got 4 boys and a girl. My oldest is 20. She'll be 23. A 19-year-old, a sophomore at Nebraska, and then I've got twins that are 11 and a 9-year-old.
Wow,
So,
big
yeah,
range.
yeah.
Are they
See,
athletes?
Dad.
Yeah, they're football nuts, and I'm not a guy to watch football much at all. I mean, I love playing it, obviously, but I don't sit there on Sunday and watch 12 hours of football. I guess I don't have the patience to do that, but they do. I mean, they can tell me exactly who the top players are, and they love football, and I just wanted to do something that they enjoy. Whether it's
Yeah.
football or painting or tennis or whatever they want to do, just as long as they enjoy it.
Now, does your daughter remember when you played? Does she have memories of you when you were playing pro, or I'm not sure how long you
Yeah,
played?
no, she was, probably a year old when I played. Yeah, she was
Okay,
really
she was
young
little,
when
okay.
I played, so she doesn't remember much of it, yeah.
Okay.
It's got to be exciting, though.
know,
Dad
yeah.
played in the NFL. It's awesome.
That's true.
So we always like to talk about the charities that are involved in the cookbook and the guys that choose them. And I love yours because you have a special connection to it. Can you tell us a little bit more about your nonprofit?
Yeah, it's the Nebraska Concussion Injury Association. And what they do is they really educate people as far as for concussions, what to look for, and then also be an advocate for those people that have had brain injuries. There's there's an estimate of 300,000 Nebraskans have had some sort of brain injury. So, and especially lately with the concussion issue that's been in the forefront in the news,
Right,
right?
yes, yes.
You see it, and they just did a movie about it with Will Smith. I don't know
Yep.
if you've seen that or not.
I haven't seen it yet, but I want to.
But yeah, so, it's something that, that's really near and dear to my heart. And I actually participated in a study at the University of Boston about 2 years ago that took 100 former NFL players.
Did you do the brain study?
Yeah, brain study and then we can compare that with 100 non-contact sport players. So it'll be interesting when that study comes out.
Yeah, I know. I have heard a little ditty on the new helmets that they're trying to develop and design for football for pro athletes, but really more for high school athletes, to protect their growing and developing brains. And I'd love to see more research done on that because, there's nothing more tragic than to see a high school student walk away with a brain injury.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, and
It
they're
is.
looking at too, what's the cumulative effect of, especially kids that are 9 and 10, down the road of getting concussive events, when they get hit, how does that affect them when they're 30, 40, 50 years old?
Right, that's the scary part. You don't, it doesn't show up right away.
Right.
And it could be a long time down the road before you start seeing the effects. So great nonprofit. We're excited to help support them. Appreciate you choosing them.
Sure.
And then real quick before we get to the food, we always like to have a fan question. And our fan question this week was, name 2 of the favorite guys you played football either with or against in the NFL.
Probably Dave Remington and Emmitt Smith. So Emmitt was a teammate of mine at the Cowboys, and then Dave, I played against him when he played for the Eagles. So
Still keep in touch with them?
I just saw Emmitt about 2 years ago in Omaha, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice. With Facebook, we can keep in touch with anyone, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Reach out and touch almost anybody at any time if we would like to. So, well, you have a great recipe. I really enjoyed doing it. As I said in the little promo, the recipe took me outdoors because it is a grilled pizza. And I do a lot of cooking and baking and things like that. So, and my favorite thing to do is bake. So I like making breads and things like that. So we are going to be putting you to work putting together the pizza for us.
Okay,
so
great.
I have already kind of come up with, this is the dough. It's already been raising in my bowl for a couple hours here. So usually that's maybe a little longer than we want it to. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about yeast, because yeast is a primary ingredient in the dough. And a lot of times, your recipe said before you start, you add a tablespoon of sugar and a package of yeast. Well, I have a tip for the viewers at home. The most important thing you can do when you buy yeast is to look at the back of the package. What does it say back there?
I didn't bring my reading glasses.
2017,
Right. What does this one say?
August 2015.
Okay, so I pulled this one out of my cupboard. I thought I just bought it yesterday, but no, it's been a while. So it is out of date, and this one is in date. So the reason they want you to it's called proofing your yeast, is to make sure it actually rises. And, otherwise you have a fail in the kitchen. So I'm going to get
So it
scissors.
doesn't go bad. Well, it goes bad, but it doesn't, it's not like dangerous.
No,
Am
it
I
is
right,
not
Sherry?
dangerous.
It just doesn't do what it's supposed to do.
Well, my scissors has left the building. Let's see if we can ask.
We have a big, strong man here.
Let's see if I can get
Ask
that.
the
Yeah.
strong man to do that.
There you go.
Look at that. Okay, I'm going to have you dump that in that bowl right
Okay.
over there. So that yeast is the 2015 yeast.
All right.
And then I'll have you open this package. And that one is the 2017. And I have some water here. It's at room temperature. And we're going to just put a little bit of water on this. And we're going
That's
to
the trick yeast.
This is a tough one, yeah.
It's a little fresher because the package.
Not as strong as I thought, right? I have this go all over the place here.
That's usually me that spills.
Yeah. You're getting it. If you just get a small bowl, we're good.
Muscle it.
All right, there we go.
You didn't know that it was going to be a test
No,
of your
I didn't
strength,
know that.
right? You didn't know we were testing your strength. So I'm going to just add about a fourth a cup of water to both of these, and it is a little bit warm. And we're just going to just stir this up a bit and kind of watch what happens in them. They're not equal or even. This is just a little experiment to see what happens. We're going to set those aside while
You don't have
we're.
to drink that, right?
No, we don't.
do.
Okay, so
do, not
that
us.
is the base of the dough, is this yeast. It makes it rise. And as I said, it has sugar. So if you don't have sugar with yeast, it won't do anything, because yeast needs the sugar to feed, and then
Right.
it starts to develop. So
It's a bacteria.
it is a bacteria. And then another thing we need to always remember when we're working with yeast, yeast doesn't like salt. So whenever you're putting a recipe together that has, say, yeast and then flour, before you add that salt, make sure you dilute your yeast down with a little bit of flour and then add the salt. It kind of, because the salt starts to impede the yeast and it stops rising. So
Sounds
just
pretty complicated.
It is, but it's scientific. The thing about baking is it's all science. So I just wanted to bring that out, because a lot of people will, you do a yeast and they'll say, oh my goodness, it didn't raise. Well, sometimes if you dump the salt right on top of your yeast, you can have great yeast, but then the salt will make it
That makes sense.
just jump down.
Interesting.
So I'm going to grab us some towels here, so we
sure.
can
Thank you.
be clean. Angela, we're gonna have you help a bit later, so I'm gonna have you wipe your hands off
Are
as
you
well.
saying I'm dirty?
No, oh, no. You say no more.
I'm just gonna grab a drink of water real quick.
Okay, go ahead, yes, it was.
Can drink that.
I know, that's what I was saying, hopefully, yeah, I've had a sore throat, so, yeah.
Okay.
All right, there you
It's all
go.
right, so we're going to start with some clean hands. We're going to take this and dump it out on the surface. But before we do that, the other thing about doing a dough, and maybe your wife hasn't told you this, because I know you say you help her a little bit, but does
I
she let
watch
you
her.
do, does she
I
let you
don't-
do the
yes,
dough?
yeah.
I love it when we
I
can
don't
get
do much cooking, but I watch her cook, so, yeah.
flour.
Supervisory.
Yes, exactly.
Flour is a good friend of the dough.
Okay.
Because it is what keeps it from sticking to everything. So I like this recipe that you provided. We're going to put a little flour on the top. Then have you just pat that down, knead that down, and before you do that, I'm going to have you dump your hands right in the flour there.
Want me to do what?
Just pop your fingers in there.
Okay.
That's all you need to do. Just get them kind of
Both of them?
both of them,
All
you'll
right,
use both
all right,
hands, there you
okay,
go.
yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Now, I want you to just kind of work that dough, knead it around a little bit, because the way this starts is you're going to make a little circle. So get it kneaded around, and now turn it into a little ball, or a big ball, I guess it would be.
Okay.
Just knead it together,
Okay.
and then turn it into a ball.
I thought you wanted me to like throw it in the air.
I do. That's
okay.
how this
Yeah, is that what you wanna
do
do?
that.
Okay.
Yeah, so then make yourself a nice tight
Okay,
little ball.
all right.
And now you see this on TV all the time, you know, they pat it down and then they
This?
start throwing it around. Now kind of pat it down
Okay.
and make yourself a nice little circle. There you go.
Okay.
Now the bad thing about this, when you do a pizza on the grill, as you know, it's really hard for it to keep its shape.
Right.
Because it doesn't really want to stay nice and round. Well, you know, once you get it to this shape, you can see you can kind of move it around a little bit. So can you do this? Just kind of stretch it out nice and big. Because when you go home, I want your wife to know that you can do this. When she watches the show, and just kind of stretch it.
So the last time I tried to cook was about 16 years ago, and I cooked spaghetti, and it was probably enough. It was just her and I, and it was probably twice of that. So I made a lot more than I needed to. And so I got done, and I put the spaghetti down the disposal.
Oh!
Don't ever do that.
No.
That was a
Bad
$150 thing of spaghetti.
Well,
So you
I-
So I haven't cooked much since then, and
Did you
that's
not eat
my,
any of it?
and that's my excuse. Well, we ate it, but,
A lot left.
so,
So you can see, I laid this little piece of parchment down on the thing, and I forgot to do this first. So if you want to have a nice circular piece of dough, I figured out if you put it on a parchment and you stretch it out, you can have this nice circular piece of dough. So, but before we do that, we need to spray it with a little Pam and add a little flour to it. And then when you put the dough on top of it, you can push it out just like that, get it into a nice little circle, and add it right on top of your
so do
grill.
you buy this, or you just
You
cut it
can
like
just,
that?
you can buy just a roll of parchment paper
Okay.
and do that. But
Pretty
see,
precise, Sherry.
it is pretty precise, but it works out nice.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is, you can lift it up, you can take it out to your grill and just drop it on, just like you.
Good idea.
So there you go. That's how you can make a nice, easy pizza dough. And you can go home and tell your wife.
I will,
I
yes.
know how.
Tell her to give me another chance. In the fridge.
I don't think she wants to. No, I had my one shot.
So Angela, I talked about this gadget before, and I'd kind of like you to use this
Oh, boy.
show our guests at home how to slice up the olives.
Okay.
It's an easy process.
I have not been prepped on this, but it looks pretty
Just push
easy.
down.
Just right down like that.
Like that.
Nice.
There you go.
And you can use this for anything soft, or can
Yes,
you use
you
it
can
in
use it
like a
for
harder
mushrooms.
vegetable, like an onion?
Mushrooms or strawberries, anything like that.
So nothing-
It works really nicely.
Nothing tougher than like an onion.
No, that
Okay.
would not work. It's just
Okay.
little thin wires that you would use, so.
Very nice.
Okay, so let's take a look at our yeast over here and see what's happening to it. So what are we seeing there? Some
That one
bubbles?
appears to be separating,
Yeah.
and that one looks kind of like cream of wheat.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say,
But-
multi-meal.
But
Yeah.
you can see both of them are working, you know, but this one has the bubbles in it. So I would say, and the ones that have the bubbles are the good ones.
So which
And
one
this
was the
was
newer
the
one?
older.
This is the older one.
that's the old one,
So
okay.
you would maybe want to use that. Because sometimes I have done that. I bought yeast from the store, brand new package, and it doesn't work well.
So maybe buy a few just in case.
Right, yes, yes,
All
yes.
right. Well, I want to talk about our featured drink today. Now, pizza on the grill, to me that screams beer. What do you guys drink with it?
Usually whatever we have, wine, beer, that's kind of my specialty is the drink side. My wife's
All
specialty is
right.
the food side, mine's the drink side.
Perfect. Perfect partnership.
And wine's great for your heart, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, the more you drink, the more your heart's protected.
Yes,
So-
and Sea of Red Wine is a great sponsor of ours, so we have to drink it,
Yeah.
you know, because they're a
Yeah.
sponsor.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
obligated.
Yeah.
I feel obligated. But right now we're going to do a featured drink by Salt. This is not necessarily to go with the pizza, but you could drink it with the pizza. You know, John over at Salt loves to do shaken drinks in this, which I'm going to have you shake it because
Okay.
I usually make a mess. But today we're doing a Pistachio Martini, which I think is awesome, and you can really pair it with anything. It's a little sweeter, but it really can go with anything. So basically what it is some Dumonte liqueur, which is a pistachio liqueur. I had never heard of it before, so I love new things like that. Similar to an amaretto is what I'd liken it to,
Okay.
but very tasty. And then a little bit of brandy. So if you keep brandy on hand for cooking or putting a snifter at night. And then a little bit of Bailey's, which is, you know, more of a winter drink. A lot of people like it in their coffee, but sometimes you have that in the pantry. So put that into your shaker. I think I have it on tight. It's not going to go all over the place. I'm going to have you shake that up a little bit. Sherry just gave us 2 glasses, which I take to mean that she doesn't want to give this one a try, but we're going to make her anyway. All right, pop this off.
Now, what John said you can do is you can actually rim those glasses with chopped pistachios if you're
that's a
really
good
into
idea.
the whole
That sounds
pistachio thing.
fancy.
Yeah.
And I am once again making a mess. Those look good. I say we give those a try. Cheers. Thank you
Cheers.
for coming on our
Thanks for
show.
having me.
Test away, test away. I'm not a huge pistachio fan.
Ooh, this
so-
is good.
Is it good? Well,
It is.
you guys enjoy.
It's really sweet. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
You probably couldn't have a lot of them.
Right.
But nice little before dinner, how do you pronounce that, aperitif?
That's how you pronounce it.
Did I get it
That's
right?
you.
All
Look at you.
right.
You are
Good choice,
you're on
John.
your,
We
you are
approve.
on your game tonight.
On my A game?
You are on your A game.
We're not done yet, so you never know.
There's some time. There's some time. I'll give us some plates here. We can test out. This is your lovely pizza. So we pop that right on the grill. And basically, even before we started, I brought this one in. So before we put the vegetables on, you would grill one side, and you add your veggies to it, and then pop it back on the grill with the uncooked side to the bottom, and then
Okay.
finish it off that way. Just so, you know, people that don't grill all the time are a little afraid of that, but it was quite easy to do. I'd never done it before, so I thought, what a great recipe. And the dough recipe was easy enough.
And great option for summer when you don't want to warm
Yeah.
up the house.
Yes.
Yeah, my wife, I mean, we all like it because each of our kids likes a different kind of pizza.
Yes.
Some of them just want cheese. One of my twins, Alec, he likes hot, he'll put like
Hot and spicy.
30 jalapenos on one little
Really?
slice and eat it.
Yep.
So, yeah, so everybody has a different taste and you can just put the topping on of whatever they like, so it's.
Perfect. We love recipes like that because I always bring up my daughter because she's a picky eater and I eat everything under the sun. So I hate making 2 different recipes
Right.
for us. It just seems like we're not eating together.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
doing something that you can kind of
Yeah.
change it up a little
Modify,
bit.
yep, yep.
Right,
Exactly.
And this recipe, it was easy to do that too. You could just put whatever you wanted on it. And I thought it was quite simple to do once I got the hang of the grill and getting it on there. And I had to, like I said, do a little research on how to get it on the grill, and that's where I came up with the parchment, you know, to pop,
Yeah, yeah, that's a
that
good
on
idea.
there so I could carry it out and then flip it on easy enough. Because otherwise I was like, how do I get this out there? You know,
Yeah,
'cause
right.
I don't know, how does your wife do it?
She just fires up the grill, and actually she did the other night, but we ran out of propane, so she just did it indoors. But yeah, she just usually fires up the grill and puts it on there. And like I said, the kids are already outside, and everybody kind of makes their own. We have toppings sitting around, and they just put on what they want, and then go from there. But it's like I said, it's really easy to be able to modify it to pretty much everybody's taste.
Yeah.
right?
Now, does this one have a sauce on it?
It does. It has a red sauce on it.
Okay.
It's just a real simple,
light.
light red sauce. It's tomato sauce with some chopped onions and garlic salt and pepper. It's pretty easy to do. So
Now, my other question would be, if you don't want to go through all of the dough making process. Is this something you could do a little simpler with a pre-made?
Oh, I'm sure you can, yeah. Yeah, we, like I said, my wife usually makes it from scratch. Well, she does make it from scratch, so,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's definitely easier ways to make it, yeah.
So now this recipe will be in the upcoming cookbook?
Absolutely. This will be in the Football 2 version, which will come out in August of 2016. So we've got this recipe. We've got a lot of great others. We've got Johnny Rogers who'll be on our show later this season.
Great.
We've got Rogier. We've got just a lot of great guys who are in the second cookbook. And so we're really excited to have you in there and have your great pizza on the grill
Well,
recipe.
thanks for having me. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Take a taste, see if you like
All
it.
right.
I did-
See how Sherry did on this?
Yes, see if I have accomplished it as well as your wife. I won't eat any, otherwise I won't be able to speak.
Okay.
That's okay, Angela.
That's good.
Yeah.
It is good, it is good. Well, I'm glad you liked it, and thank you so much for submitting that recipe. If our viewers at home would like a copy of that recipe, I think we're gonna have that on our show page, so we'll be able to download that recipe, so. I think
Or you
that'll-
can wait till the summer and buy the book.
And buy the book, yeah, that's a better way. Then you get all those other great recipes.
Absolutely.
So it'll be great. Well, this about wraps up our show for the day. Went so fast.
Thanks for
Danny,
having me.
thanks
Appreciate it.
so
Yeah.
much for joining us. Thanks for playing along with the dough making.
Yeah, no
And
problem.
I want to thank our amazing production crew. They do a great job for us every single week. You know, if it weren't for them, we wouldn't have a show. And you know, I always appreciate John at Salt, who, when I run in there and I say, hey, John, get me that recipe right away, he's always Johnny on the spot.
Absolutely.
So shout out to John for always being willing to do that
Yeah.
for
Great
us.
drinks, too.
Yeah,
Very
so
good
if you don't want to make it at home, you can always go to Salt. They got a great patio.
And
so.
it's patio season, and they've opened their wonderful patio.
Oh, is that right?
So
Okay.
definitely suggest you go check those out. Wonderful spot to just enjoy a drink and an
Sure.
appetizer
Yeah,
or one
definitely.
of their great meals. So
All right. Well, that about wraps up our show. Until next week, until next time, may God bless you, and we'll see you again on the Big Red Kitchen Show. All right, let's dig in and have some pizza.
The Big Red Kitchen Show was brought to you by Salt Restaurant, Wren's Display, the Pampered Chef products provided by Teresa Brown, Sea of Red Wine, DeFord Family Dental, Dr. Kathy DeFord, Rotella's Bakery, Just Good Meats, Quality Mark Home Repair and Remodeling, Waddell and Reed Financial Advisors, Eastbark Media, D. Tendenza Food Styling and Photography,